In the lightweight division at UFC Fight Night, aka UFC Vegas 73. The main card kicks off with Michael Johnson coming in at 22-18, taking on Diego Ferreira, who comes in at 17-5. So this is American on Brazilian. The American Michael Johnson, 1 inch taller at 5'10". Both guys getting up there in age a little bit. Michael Johnson's 36, Diego Ferreira 38. See if that really plays a factor. Probably not. Ferreira, 1 inch reach advantage, 74-73. He's right-handed. Michael Johnson is a southpaw. Both guys above 4 significant strikes per minute. Ferreira 4.7, Michael Johnson 4.3. So no clear difference there. And neither guy lands on average 1 takedown over the course of 3 rounds. So they want to stand up and strike. Now, Michael Johnson, aka the Menace, 80% takedown defense. He's come off the win over Mark Diakis. That's a big win by unanimous decision. He lost to Jamie Malarkey by split decision, so close fight there, and beat Alan Patrick by KO. So he could very easily have won 3 in a row coming into this fight. And that 80% takedown defense is ridiculous. Now Ferreira, 63% takedown defense. He's lost 3 in a row. But they came at the hands of Mateusz Gamrot, KO. Would expect that. Grigor Gillespie, KO. Well, Beneil Dariush lost by split decision. That's pretty crazy, right? So that makes things very, very difficult when you see he lost to Beneil Dariush by split decision. That lets you know that Diego Ferreira is for real. Michael Johnson is for real too. And that's why the odds of this fight, I mean, they're going to be in favor of Ferreira, right? But it's not 2-1. It's less than that. So there's some people who believe that Michael Johnson is going to win this fight. I'm conflicted a little bit, but he could have very easily won 4 in a row. And in the lightweight division, you just never know what's going to happen. That's why it's the best division in the UFC. But in making the prediction, I think I'm going to go with Michael Johnson here. And try to kind of delay if you didn't see that, because it's very close. For one, I want to root for Michael Johnson. Number 2, he could have very easily won 3 in a row with a split decision loss. It only makes me nervous if I'd had a loss by split decision to Beneil Dariush, who we all know is 1 fight away from fighting Islam for the title. So Ferreira is that good. But Michael Johnson is coming on. I've always believed that this guy can win at the highest level. Is he going to be a champ or anything like that? No. But, no disrespect to him, but just meaning that's a long road to have to go through at this point in his career. But he can beat some of these up-and-comers like Diego Ferreira. So I like Michael Johnson to sneak out this victory. Forget the 22-18 record. Look at 40 professional fights. He gets to win here to move to 23-18. I think it's going to be a split decision here in the lightweight division at UFC Fight Night. In the welterweight division at UFC Fight Night, you get Andre Fialho taking on Joaquin Buckley. I love this fight. This is a great fight. Fialho 16-6, Buckley 15-6. Now Fialho, 2 inches taller, is 6 feet. Both guys 29 years old, prime of their career. Buckley's got a 2-inch reach advantage. He fights left-handed, southpaw. Fialho fights right-handed. Now Buckley leads in both areas. Significant strikes per minute, 3.9 to 3.1. So he's a little more active. Also, he lands like a takedown each fight or over the course of 3 rounds. Nothing for Fialho. But, I mean, Fialho is still 16-6, so he's finding ways to win. He's got a 71% takedown defense. That'll help. Coming off back-to-back losses to Salikov, KO. He's also KO'd by Jake Matthews. Before that, he beat Van Camp by KO and Miguel Beza by KO. I mean, he's winning or losing in style. You can give him that. On the other hand, Buckley, 66% takedown defense, right about average. Back-to-back losses to Chris Curtis by KO and Amavov. Nazardine Amavov by decision. But he beat Duraev and Abdul Razak Al Hassan. So he's got some big wins there as well. And this one's easy for me. I mean, Fialho's good, but I just like Joaquin Buckley to win this fight. To me, he's just better. He's going to be more active. He'll probably get 2 takedowns in this fight, a little ground and pound. He's 2-1 favorite for a reason. So I like him to win, in my opinion, to move to 16-6, likely by KO. Welterweight division, UFC Fight Night. In a women's catchweight fight at UFC Fight Night, you got Emily Ducote coming in at 12-7, taking on Loopy Godinez, who comes in at 9-3. Both fighters 5'2". Both 29 years old, right in their prime. Ducote's got a 2-inch reach advantage. They both stand right-handed. Now here's the difference maker. Ducote, 6.2 significant strikes per minute. Loopy, just 3.4. But Loopy lands more than a takedown per round. So again, it comes down to takedown defense. Right now for Ducote, it's 100%. So you think, okay, she's going to stop all the takedowns. But that's only in 2 UFC fights. She lost to Angela Hill, as she should. 182 to 71 in significant strikes. She beat Jessica Panay. That's a good win by decision and doubled her up in significant strikes, just about. Now, on the other hand, Loopy Godinez has more fights. She's coming off the win over Cynthia Calvillo by split decision. That's a big one. Lost to Angela Hill, but outstruck her. Common opponent. Beat Ariane Carnellucci and Luma Lukbumbi. So this one's pretty easy to me. I mean, I'm in favor of Godinez here. She might struggle in 1 of the 3 rounds at significant strikes, but she'll land takedowns in 2 out of 3 rounds, gain the control, and get the victory. And also the common opponent, Angela Hill. Kind of shows you a matchup there. I just like Loopy Godinez to win this fight. I don't often go against a striker, but I just think Loopy Godinez has more experience. She's going to get the takedown. She's going to find a way to win the fight, as she's shown in the past. So she wins, in my opinion, to move to 10-3. Women's catchweight at UFC Fight Night. In the middleweight division at UFC Fight Night, you got Edmen Shahbazyan taking on Anthony Hernandez. 2 guys with good records, right? Shahbazyan 12-3. Hernandez comes in at 10-2. Now, Shahbazyan is 2 inches taller, but he's given up 1 inch in reach, 75 to 74 in favor of Hernandez. Not a big deal. Both guys fight right-handed. Now, in terms of activity, it's kind of close. Shahbazyan 3.6 significant strikes per minute. Hernandez right at 4 significant strikes per minute. So very close. You expect only like 5 or 6 significant strike difference based on those stats. Now, here's the big one, takedown average. Hernandez lands like 2 takedowns per round over his career. Shahbazyan gets 2 over the course of 3 rounds. So that's the difference maker for Hernandez. So the next question is, what's Shahbazyan's takedown defense? 65%. Now he's coming off the win against Lungi Ambula by KO. Big win there after suffering 3 losses in a row. He lost to a Mayvov by KO. Jack Hermanson took him down 3 times. He lost by decision. Brunson KO'd him in the 3rd after he gave up 4 takedowns. So 7 takedowns against Hermanson and Brunson. So that's where you see his takedown defense struggles, right, against the big fighters. Now, is Anthony Hernandez on that level? Not quite, but I still think Hernandez gets some takedowns. When you look at Anthony Hernandez, he's coming off the win over Marc-Andre Barriault, submission. Josh Fremd, decision. And Rodolfo Vieira, submission. So it's very clear to me that Anthony Hernandez has a good opportunity to win this fight, right, with the takedowns. That should limit the ability for Shahbazyan to land significant strikes. Anthony Hernandez is 10-2. I mean, Shahbazyan's 12-3, but Hernandez better in significant strikes, barely. Much better in takedowns. And Shahbazyan doesn't have a perfect takedown record. So Hernandez is going to take this thing to the ground, win 2 out of 3 rounds to get the decision, to move to 11-2, in my opinion, here in the middleweight division, UFC Fight Night. In the women's strawweight division at UFC Fight Night, Mackenzie Dern, 12-3. The Brazilian taking on Angela Hill, who comes in at 15-12. And I'm totally conflicted in this prediction because I like both Dern and Hill, if you can't tell from previous predictions. Dern, 1 inch taller at 5'4". She's 8 years younger at 30. A lot of time left for Mackenzie Dern. Now she's given up 2 inches in reach to Angela Hill. Both stand right-handed. Now, overkill Hill, 5.7 significant strikes per minute. You think about that. She's 15-12 and she lands 5.7 significant strikes per minute. That's ridiculous. Dern, 3 significant strikes per minute. So you're thinking, first thing you should think is Mackenzie Dern, Brazilian, not very active on the feet, great takedown game, right? You'd be wrong. Less than 1 takedown over the course of 3 rounds. Angela Hill, basically even in that area. So takedown defense could be important. Mackenzie Dern, 40%. That's not very good. Angela Hill, much better, 77% takedown defense. So already, I like Angela Hill's stats better. But will that hold up? Because Mackenzie Dern has faced a lot of good fighters early on in her career. Now, she just came off a loss to Jan Jianen, who KO Jessica Andrade this past weekend at UFC 288. Lost that by majority decision. Had 2 takedowns on Gionin. That was big. Before that, she beat Tisha Torres, lost to Marina Rodriguez. And prior to that, she was on a nice run over Hannah Cifers, Ronda Marcos, Verna Jandaroba, Nina Nunes. Before she hit some road, or speed bumps in 2 of the last 3 fights. Now Overkill Hill, coming off back-to-back wins over Emily Ducote and Loopy Godinez by decision. She did lose to Verna Jandaroba. That's key. Close decision loss. In fact, she had 3 close decision losses in a row to Jandaroba, Lemos, and Torres. She did beat Ashley Yoder prior to that. Earlier in the career, not really that much earlier, but back in September of 2020, she suffered back-to-back losses against Michelle Waterson-Gomez, Michelle Waterson at the time, and Claudia Gadea. Both split decision losses, and if you go back and watch those reactions, I was upset about both of them because Angela Hill should have won both of those fights. She outstruck her opponent in both of those. Granted, they were close fights, split decision worthy, I'm sure, but those 2 fights, if she would have won those, it'd be a much different situation. Her record would be more spread out. Angela Hill is capable of beating anybody on any given night, right? She just needs some things to go her way. But as much as I like Angela Hill, and I don't remember picking against her in a while, probably in the last 7 fights, I'm going to go with Mackenzie Dern in this fight because I still think the sky is the limit for Mackenzie Dern. She's hit some not roadblocks, but speed bumps along the way, but she's still 12-3. She's only 30 years old. She's going to get back in the win column and start winning. I do believe that Mackenzie Dern, a little bit slimmer of a shot now, but I still think Mackenzie Dern is a future champion. She just hasn't had the right path to get there and had some things in her personal life that she had to get past. Not bad, just, certain things. Now she's refocused on the career. She's probably got a good 4 to 6 year window, and the time is now. So Mackenzie Dern's going to come in and win this thing, but it's not going to be easy. It'll be by close decision to move to, and I won't be surprised if she drops a round. But she'll win to move to 13-3. Hill will fall to 15-13, women's strawweight division, UFC Fight Night.